Welcome back to the 30th episode of the Royal Reset Podcast, take 2. Because, I filmed this. We had this conversation already while I was in Florida, but technical difficulties. So we're going to start all over. It's all good. It's all Gucci. This has happened before, right around episode 3 or 4. And I ended up scrapping that entire episode. But this time I'm not. We just want to say the same thing that we said last time. Yeah, because it needs to be heard. It needs to be said. So hello, Your Majesty. How are you doing? You're looking fabulous for this Sunday evening. Tell me, Your Highness, how are you? How do you feel? How you living? How you chill? Okay. That's good to hear, Your Majesty. That's good to hear. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we get to have this chit chat all over again, Your Majesty. And as I said, you're looking fabulous. Go ahead, prop me up in your kitchen, your living room, your dining room, whatever it is that you do your Sunday reset chores. And let's chat, Your Majesty, because we're going to be here all week, the rest of the year, practically discussing Wicked for good. So spoilers, if for some reason you have not seen the movie yet, spoilers for sure. That is your one and only spoiler alert. How am I doing? I am doing fabulous. Okay. Today is the last day of my 9-day vacation. How did it go by so fast? I don't know, but it's okay. I'm here. Feeling good. Looking even better, and ready to get back to it. Because really, the next few weeks is nothing but parties. Nothing but end of the year parties. So I'm okay with that. Let's get to work. Finish out the year strong. And I got a 2-week vacation coming up at the end of the year, the last 2 weeks of the year. So, it's all good. Push through for 3 weeks. I could do that. So I'm feeling good right now, Your Majesty. How was your week, Your Highness? It's been a couple of weeks because this episode was actually supposed to drop last weekend, but again, technical difficulties. So Your Majesty, catch me up. You gave me your goals for last week and what you wanted to achieve and accomplish for that week. Your Majesty, tell me, were there any setbacks? Were there any roadblocks? Were any negative Nancy's all up in your beeswax, girl? Tell me how it went. Where are we on our goals? And go. Yes! I told you. I told you, Your Majesty. You are a badass. There's absolutely nothing you cannot do. There's nothing you can't accomplish. As soon as you set your mind to it, it's done. It's written. It has been completed. As soon as you say it's what you want, as soon as you say it's what you're going to do, I'm telling you, there's nothing that can stop you. I am so incredibly proud of you, Your Highness. You are out here doing your thug thizzle for shizzle my nizzle, and I cannot be more excited to see where you go. Ah! Yes! My week was great. The last week of work was fantastic. I read a couple of books, got some work done. And again, like I said, the first 3 weeks of December, I support 10 teams. One of those teams is condensed into one team. 6 of those teams condensed into one team. So there's 6 different end of the year parties that I need to plan. That I'm planning for the first 3 weeks of December. And so I did majority of the planning, got majority of the contracts, everything, payments needed to be made before I left on my vacation. So really, when I get back from vacation, there's just a couple of more things that need to be purchased that shouldn't have been purchased a week, before vacation. I make those purchases, sign the last of those contracts, And really, the last first 3 weeks of December is nothing but party after party after party. I have an all-day workshop with one of my teams, and then the whole company is having a party for the Irvine campus, which is where my job is based. So like, yeah, just parties. End of the year parties. And so yes. And wrapping up reports and things of that nature because it's the end of the year. And then I have a whole bunch of trainings. I just, got promoted and with a raise and stuff. And so I did trainings for my first month. I have to finish a whole bunch of trainings for my second month. So, yes, so that's what I did the week before my vacation. And then for my vacation, I went back to Disney World in Florida, had an amazing time. So if you don't know, Disney World in Florida, Disney has 5 parks, one of them being a water park. And the Universal side also has 5 parks, one of them being a water park. And so actually 2 of them being a water park, I believe. Yes. And so the first time I went for my birthday, I went to Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Magic Kingdom for Disney. And then for Universal, I just went to Universal Florida and Epic. So I wanted to go back to hit up the parks that I didn't get to hit up before, which on the Universal side was Islands of Adventure, and on the Disney World side was Hollywood Studios. But I ended up saying scratch that. I went to Animal Kingdom, back to Animal Kingdom for Disney World, and then I went to Islands of Adventure. And out of all of the parks that I visited in Disney World and Orlando, and Orlando, Florida, I would have to say Islands of Adventure. And we can say that this is where we've moved on into what has been entertaining me. Islands of Adventure at Universal Studios Florida. Oh my the rides at Islands of Adventure had me with waking up the next day with no voice. I mean, you can still kind of hear it. You can still kind of hear the damage that was done to my vocal cords because I was screaming, okay, screaming. Velocicoaster, the Hulk ride, and then there's a ride for Hagrid and Hogsmeade, the Harry Potter land. Like all of them, amazing. Hulk 060 and flipping you upside down. For the Velocicoaster, that's the one where I lost my voice, okay? When I go on vacation, I wear a bob wig, right? Nothing that, is glued down or clipped down because it has like a bang, so I don't have to do all that craziness, right? When I was walking to the Velocicoaster, there was a part of the coaster that is hanging over a walkway, the walkway that you need to walk to get to the front of the ride, right? It's not a loop-de-loop, it's just a straight that's hanging over the walkway. Just a straight, like this. No loop-de-loop, no nothing, just a straight. As I was walking to the Velocicoaster entrance, the coaster passed me, and all of them were hanging upside down. I should have known then, but so when I got to the lockers, I was like, oh, they were hanging upside down on a straight. So you know what? Let me take my crown and my wig off and leave it in this locker. I was smart in that respect, but did not expect to get on that coaster and be flipped, dipped, quadrulipped, twisted, dipped it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I very much so enjoyed it. And then Hagrid's has a whole part where you think you're going to shoot forward, but instead of shooting forward, they dropped the whole coaster. The whole coaster dropped straight down. It was lit. It was lit. It was lit. So yeah, I had a great time on my vacation. ate some good food, read 3 more books. So now my total is 74 books read for the year. 74, way far away from my goal of 115. But still, like, how many people do you know who have read 74 books in a year? Exactly. So yeah. So, had a good time, had a great time. My weeks have been great. And that is what has been entertaining me. That theme park, because nothing else in Orlando is giving what Islands of Adventure gave. Okay. Everything else, all the other rides are mediocre. Disneyland, way better than Disney World. Okay. Universal is a tie. But Islands of Adventure, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've decided that I'm going to be going back every other month. So, yeah, because my flights, I spent $150 total on flights. Total. I spent $75 on my flight there and $50 on my flight back. So, yeah. Not actually, that's 120. I don't know math. That's $125. That's not even 150. Hell yeah. I'll be back in January, going back in March, going back in May, July, and so on and so forth. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even might get a Universal Studios for the annual pass. Cause might as well. Might as well. Anyways, yes. Let us discuss our 4B Queen of the Week. Drum roll, please. None other than the incomparable, the ethereal, the stylish, the talented queen that is Cynthia Erivo. Because, my God, today, Cynthia, no good deed alone. If all she's ever done in her life is no good deed alone, she deserves all the awards, all the flowers, all the accolades. Because, gosh damn it, Cynthia, are you serious? The acting, the powerhouse vocals, the fashion, it's just the memes. She's just everything. And I know she's messed up in the past, said some things she shouldn't have, did some things that were questionable, but we need to give her flowers because, my God, today, what she is doing for Black women specifically right here in this day and time, because let's just be real, let's just be honest, Wicked, the whole entire story of Wicked is an allegory for fascism. So it's all about racism. It's all about dictatorships and shit. And for her to be playing this role of Elphaba, which should have always been played by a Black woman to begin with, but for her to be playing this role for the movie adaptation that has a wider reach than the stage, than the book, what she's doing for Black women right now is just everything. So thank you, Queen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Your Majesty, for sharing your gifts with us, for being you, unapologetically you. I know you just dropped a book. I cannot wait to read that. It might actually be my first book that I read on Audible because Cynthia, narrated it herself. So absolutely, I am ready, injected into my veins. I am so prepared and ready to go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm so ready. But as I said, the next couple of weeks, we will be discussing the movie Wicked for Good. There are so many important messages, lessons that we can pull from this movie. We're not even going to touch the political aspect of it. Not even going to touch none of that. We can look at family dynamics. We can look at what it means to live consciously versus living unconsciously. Because if you think about it, Elphaba is living consciously while Glinda is not. We can talk about friendship and how Glinda ain't really a true friend. She's an ain't shit friend and a fake ass ally. But today, for today's discussion, I would like to discuss purpose and how important it is to stay focused, on track with what it is that you are put on this earth to do. You see, because at the beginning of Wicked for Good, Elphaba is on the wrong path. She's thinking she's on the wrong path. She's very close to where she needs to be, but she's not thinking of her purpose. And in some respects, she's forgotten herself. So let's dig deep into it, shall we? Let's dig into it. Because I think it's super important that we remember that although there are so many horrible things happening in this world simultaneously, all across the world, that are heartbreaking, that are sad, that are frustrating, that make you angry, where you just want to do something, you just want to help everybody and make everybody's lives happy and easier. I think it's important for us to remember to stay focused on our purpose. You cannot help everybody. You cannot help everybody. Your name is not Jesus and your last name ain't Christ. He helps everybody. Helped, is helping, and will continue to help everybody. But you were put on this earth for a very specific reason. And it is important that you stay focused on that reason. It could be multiple, but you stay focused on that purpose, your purpose. Because when you are focused on your purpose, you're helping who you need to help. When she is focused on her purpose, she's helping who she needs to help. If he is focused on his purpose, he's helping who he needs to help. And if everybody is focused on their purpose and helping who they were put on this earth to help, then everybody gets help. You see where I'm going with this? So, when we open up the movie of Wicked for Good, Elphaba, the second time we see her, first time we hear her sing, she says, if she can just get the people of Oz to realize that the wizard is a fake, a fraud, then they will be broke. They will break their spell, his spell, and finally get him out of Oz. That's not her purpose. That's not what she should be focusing on. That is not what she was put on earth. That's not what she was born to do. What is Elphaba's purpose? Let's go back to our discussion that we had way back in episode 2, 3, where we discussed how it is you find your purpose. How do you find your purpose? It's a triangle. Your purpose is what you've been through, what you're good at, and the change you want to see in the world. Altogether, that creates your purpose, right? So what has Elphaba been through? She has been otherized because she looks different than everybody else. What is she good at? Standing up for and being a voice for the forgotten. What is the change she wants to see in the world? She wants animals and Oz to have the same rights as any other Ozian and be able to live a life of freedom and peace, just like any other Ozian. What is Elphaba's purpose? To use her gifts, her powers. She has powers too, but she's also a great orator, right? So to use her gifts as an orator and her powers to help the animals find freedom and peace living in Oz so that they don't have to feel otherized as she has always felt her entire life. That is her purpose in life. Notice that has absolutely nothing to do with the Wiz. Exactly. Showing Ozians that the wizard is a fake, is a fraud, is outside of her purpose. That should not be her focal point. But when we meet her at the beginning of Wicked for Good, that is what she is focused on. And so we see that everything that she is doing is being met with resistance, is not only being met with resistance, but the good deeds that she is trying to perform are being twisted and flipped into negativity or into more fodder that can be used against her, right? So for example, when she shows up to Glinda and Fiero's engagement announcement, and in the sky she writes, "Your wizard lies." But Madame Warrible does her, vogue. She vogues for a minute, and changes her words to "everyone in Oz dies" or something like that, making it worse for her before Glinda could even see it, right? Okay. We see also with Nessa and Bach when Bach is turned into the Tin Man. And Nessa recognizes herself as the Wicked Witch of the East, right? Nessa asks her to help her. It's not her purpose, it's not her destiny to assist Nessa. That was not a part of her plan. That was not a part of her purpose. But she steps outside of her purpose and does what she could to help Nessa. And what happens? A whole chain of events that ends up almost killing Bach turns him into a Tin Man, further alienates Nessa because now Nessa completely hates her, has completely turned against her, has blamed Bach's predicament of being a whole ass Tin Man on her, and at the end of the day is the entire reason why this whole not manhunt, but Bach becomes the leader of the manhunt, the witch hunt to melt her, because he truly believes, even though he was right there when Nessa put up the spell, truly believes that Elphaba is the reason why he's a Tin Man. This whole chain of events starts with her stepping outside of her purpose, trying to help someone that she is not put on this earth to help, to assist. And I know for a lot of people that's going to ruffle some feathers, because we think that, we are supposed to be God, saviors for our family. And at the end of the day, that is not our job. Not for your family, not for your friends. You cannot help someone who does not wish to be helped. You cannot help someone who does not wish to be helped. And what is the difference between someone who wants to be helped and someone who doesn't wish to be helped? Someone who wants to be helped is going to help themselves first. And then you're going to do what you can to assist them and further lift them up the ladder. Someone who is not ready to be helped or doesn't want to be helped is going to blame their circumstance on you and put their circumstance on you and force you or manipulate you in any way that they can to use your time, your money, your resources to assist them and lift them up. Nessa did not want to be helped. She did not want to be helped. She did not want to be assisted. And so going outside, stepping outside of her purpose to help Nessa is what created that whole chain of events that was very much so preventable. Very much so preventable. But now let's discuss an instance where Elphaba stayed on task, focused on her purpose, and actually helped and actually used her gifts to see the first half of her purpose come to fruition. Let's talk about her finding the wizard's evil lair. Let's just call it that. Let's just call it what it is, right? Side note, the parallels of Elphaba walking down the stairs into the wizard's basement at the same time that Glinda is walking down the stairs towards Fiyero to marry him. Absolutely stunning, gorgeous. Another thing that I caught was at the end of No Good Deed, actually during No Good Deed, when Elphaba turns around and she's walking towards the camera and the flying monkeys are flying behind her. Very much so a parallel to Madame Morrible when Madame Morrible turns around in the first movie, is walking towards the camera and flying monkeys are flying. I just, the cinematography, yes. If they don't win the Oscar, yes, absolutely. Gorgeous cinematography. Beautiful shots. Anyways, back to what we're discussing. So, when Elphaba is presented with an opportunity to see the first part of her purpose come into fruition, what happens? Absolutely everything goes right, and it comes to her with such ease. Notice how she didn't have to open the grimoire to find a spell to unlock all those cages. Notice how she had every single thing she needed to see that part of her purpose into fruition within her. The magic was already in her. All she had to do was snap them locks and boom, all the animals are set free. Every single animal that the wizard has captured and put in a cage, set free in one single day in less than 30 minutes. The flying monkeys are free, as well as all the animals that he trapped up. Easy. Done from within, not from without. Notice that? Notice how that happened? See how easy that all came together. Because she was focused on her purpose. And when you're focused on your purpose, not only do you have everything that you need within you for you to succeed, but the universe will send you people like, what's his name? Chimery? The monkey, the head monkey, who showed her where the animals were locked up at? Like Fiero, who helped her escape Oz or the Emerald City after she let all the animals go? Like, the universe will send you the additional assistance you may end up needing. It will all work out for you in the end when you are focused on your purpose and your purpose only. If you focus down, you'll help who it is you need to help. You need to assist. If we all come together to focus down on what it is we were put on this earth to do, everybody will get helped. And the world will become a better place. If you don't hear anything else I have told you the last 32 weeks, if you don't hear anything else that I tell you moving forward, hear this. The world becomes a better place every single time you make the decision to walk in your purpose. Make decisions based off of your purpose. You spend your day thinking, moving forward towards your purpose. The life for everybody in this world whom you were put on this earth to assist, to help, becomes better when you make the decision to focus down on your purpose. How can you help? What can you do? Focus on your purpose. And it becomes so much easier. Life becomes so much easier. All of a sudden, you're living the life of your dreams, as well as helping others to get that much closer to live the life of their dreams as well. And it doesn't matter what it is you were gifted with, what you were put on this earth to do, you still have a purpose. You still have a super important part of that overall plan that helps save the world in some way. If you were put on this earth to make caramel sauce, the best caramel sauce that ever sauced, you will still save and change lives with that delicious caramel sauce, if that is what it is you were put on this earth to do. It doesn't matter how big or how small you think your role is. It's important nonetheless. Nonetheless. Focus down on what it is you were put on this earth to do. Don't worry about anything or everyone else. Focus on you, your purpose, your community, and I promise you, Your Majesty, everything will fall into place. And what happens at the end of Wicked for Good? Elphaba is refocused. I believe Cynthia Erivo says that no good deed is her weakest moment. It's Elphaba's weakest moment in the story. But I actually see it as a moment of empowerment. A moment when she realizes that helping everybody is not what she was put on this earth to do. Her name is not Jesus and her last name ain't Christ. She was put on this earth to help the animals live a life of freedom and peace, just like every other Ozian. She did half of that by letting those that were trapped in cages go. She gave them freedom. She still had another half of that, which was peace. Sometimes your purpose will ruffle feathers. Today in church, we were discussing Mary's husband, Joseph, and how he had to go around telling people that his wife is pregnant, but she's also a virgin. And she's pregnant by the Holy Spirit. Imagine today having to go around telling everybody that you love your wife is pregnant. It's not your kid, it's God's kid. And he's going to save the world. Imagine having to go around telling people, have this conversation with people. You don't even have to tell nobody. It just always comes up in every conversation that you have. And people are looking at you like, huh? Are you sure? You know, negative Nancy is saying they negativity. Debbie Downers, you know, saying, are you sure you can do that? Are you sure she's not lying to you? Are you positive? You may have a purpose that may ruffle some feathers. And it is your goal, your job to keep going anyways through it all. And I believe Elphaba singing No Good Deed Will I Do Ever Again is her reminding herself that if she has to be wicked, she will be wicked. But at the end of the day, them animals will be living free and with peace by any means necessary. You want to call me wicked, then I will be wicked. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do what needs to be done. Let's get it done. And fuck all the rest of y'all. It's me and the animals and animals and me and Fiyero. That's it. That's how I see No Good Deed. And that's what I hope you take from No Good Deed. By any means necessary, it is your job to use the gift that God gave you to assist and to help and to walk in your purpose and change the world. Focus down on your purpose and you will change not only your life, but the lives of all the people you were put on this earth to help. I promise you that. It's already within you. And whatever else you may need, the universe, God, whomever it is you believe in, will send you the rest. Will send you the Fiyero. Will send you the Chimere. I'm dead serious. So how do we end Wicked for Good? We end Wicked for Good with, again, Elphaba focused on her sister's shoes. This woman who didn't want anything to do with her in the first place. Who, when Elphaba was the one being made fun of, would boohoo and cry because it made her uncomfortable, not because her sister was being hurt. The woman who was on her father's side whenever her father treated Elphaba terribly, the way that he always treated her. She's focused on her sister and getting her shoes until she receives that note from Fiyero saying, hey, here's a way that you can help and you can save yourself. Let's get it done. And what does she do? She gets it done. She passes the torch. Now it's up to you. She empowers Glenda to get the fuck up out her bubble and get some stuff done. Because let's be real, let's be honest. Glenda only made the changes she made because she thought she had just witnessed her best friend die. That's the only trauma Glenda has ever known in her life. She was befounded. She was befuddled. She was confused. And she is hurting in pain. And that is the only way she was able to finally pop her bubble and become Glenda the Good. It was because of Elphaba. A lot of y'all y'all are missing that point. Y'all are missing that part. That is why at the end, Elphaba says she can never know that I am alive. She can never know that it was a ruse, because her believing that Elphaba is dead is what triggered her to pop her own bubble and finally start doing the thing she knew the whole movie she should have been doing in the first place. So no, at the end of the movie, she doesn't know, and that's not a wink from Elphaba that she's alive. Elphaba is not sending her her magic. No, she earned the right to read from the Grimoire. The Grimoire only allows those who earn or who are worthy of the right to use it. It only opens for those who deserve. And she had earned her right to open the Grimoire. That is what that is. That is what that is. And what does the Grimoire open on at the end? For those of y'all who don't know, a little bit of Ozian history for that ass. It opens to a healing spell. A spell to help her heal as she grieves for Fiyero and Elphaba. Because remember, she thinks Fiyero is dead too. And now she's going to do the work to make sure that those animals that Elphaba freed also live in peace. Right there in Oz. Focus on you. Focus on your purpose. Focus on your community. And I swear to you, Your Majesty, not only will you end up walking away, living your best life with your scarecrow husband, who, the only man who ever loved you, only person in this world who ever loved you, and makes you feel like you can fly to the moon. Your happily ever after. Not only will you be living your happily ever after, but so will your community, as in Glinda, and so would your purpose. Your purpose will be fulfilled. And in fulfilling your purpose, you are helping others live their best life. And not only is it that if you focus on your purpose and everybody else focus on their purpose, the world will change and heal. But also remember that it's a compound effect. It's like dominoes. You help someone who helps someone who helps someone who helps someone. So pay it forward. Focus in on your goals. Stop letting all this nonsense, this mess, other people's opinions, what other people think, feel, what other people are doing, what's going on in the country. Stop letting all this other nonsense blind you and block you from walking in your purpose, from realizing what it is that you were meant to do. Because a lot of you still, even though I gave you the tools back in episode 2 and have repeated it several times since, repeated it just 20 minutes ago, you still don't know what it is you were put on this earth to do. But let me tell you something, Your Majesty, you have a gift. You were born with at least one gift. And you were put on this earth. You are so powerful, so magnificent that God, the universe, whomever it is you believe in, hand chose you, picked you, and molded you so that you could help move the purpose of the world forward, could help save people's lives. That is how magnificent and powerful you are. You have a purpose, even if you don't know what it is yet. And trust me, you have all the power and the tools and the gifts that you need to see it into fruition. So, how will you focus? What noise do you need to cut out in order to find your best life, like Elphaba, in order to help your friends and family, your community, in order to see your purpose come into fruition. What is it that you need to do? What is it that you can do right here, right now? Is it figure out what your purpose is? Is it figure out what your gifts are? Or is it figuring out how you can use what you've been through, what you're good at, and the change you want to see in the world, how you can use those three answers and mold them into what your purpose is? Or do you just need to stop playing games with yourself and your life and the lives of the people who you were put on this earth to help, and just make the decision to walk in your purpose here, right now, today? What can you do right here, right now? Meditate on that, Your Majesty. That is your homework this week. Because it's time. I know you're tired of living that life that you don't deserve. I know you are ready to live the life of your dreams. Now, I know you're tired of being complacent, working that fuck ass job, up in that ugly ass man's face. Girl, let him go. Okay? Let that job go and walk in your purpose. Find the man of your dreams, the friends who are meant to uplift you, but you are still so stuck on, being with the family that you were born into because they're blood, even though they treat you like garbage. Spend this week meditating on what it is, the next step you need to take, and take it. Because I promise you, when you focus down on your purpose and start walking in your purpose, your life and the lives of the people that you were put on this earth to help and to save will become 1000% better. How can you help? Walk in your purpose. So yeah, that is our conversation for this week, Your Majesty. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, Your Highness. As I said, we have so much more to discuss when it comes to Wicked for Good. Next week, we are going to discuss just why Glinda is a horrible friend. And I think it's so interesting that we started the year off with another movie about two friends. And what was it called? Just One of Them Days? One of Them Days? And SZA in that movie was a fuck ass friend too. So next week we're going to discuss these two movies that started and ended our year, and what they tell us about what true friendship is, because I'm tired. I'm tired of the media throwing these friendships at us, and then all of a sudden y'all are looking at Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande in real life and saying that this is weird. That's probably a real friendship right there. Two theater nerds living their nerd dreams together. And y'all think it's weird. Yeah, so that's what we're going to discuss next week. But in the meantime, Your Majesty, tell me, Your Highness, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you hope to accomplish other than what we've discussed already about you finally getting up on the broom and defying gravity in your life? Your Majesty, what are your goals and dreams for next week? Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to hear just how you accomplish every single one of those goals. And if you have to pivot, I can't wait to see how your mind is just so intricate and so amazing and so sharp. I can't wait to hear how you navigate figuring out you need to pivot and what you do to pivot. I'm so excited to hear from you next week, Your Majesty. As far as myself, like I said, I got 3 weeks of work, and then the last 2 weeks of the year I'm on vacation. So it's grind time. But also we're coming up on the last few weeks of the year. So that means the last few weeks of my winter arc for 2025 anyways, because, you know, the winter arc keeps going in 2026. And so, yeah, finalizing my goals for 2026 and reading. You know, I realized, you know, when I got that promotion and that raise, there was not one moment of celebration. I feel like I have been celebrating that ever since. And so I want to continue to celebrate and to be thankful and grateful. Oh God, I thank you for the blessing of that raise and of that promotion, and having the job that I do have and the freedom that it has provided me since. So I just want to keep celebrating that, keep living in the moment, while also working towards my purpose and helping you realize just how magnificent, how powerful, and how valuable you are. So yeah, that's my goals. Reading, of course. If we can't make it to 115, I want to make it to 80, 85. And as I said, right now we're at 74. So I can get 11 more books read by the end of the year. That's light work. So if I can't make it to 115, I want to make it to 85. Let's pivot and let's make it to 85. I can do that. I can do that. Watch me exceed it. Okay? Okay. So yes, continuing on with my winter arc, hitting the new goal, 85 books read, and continuing to celebrate and be thankful and grateful for all the blessings that I have received this year. Absolutely. Those are my goals this week. Thank you so much, Your Majesty, for hanging out with me. Thank you for understanding the technical difficulties that I had last week. And, you know, a couple weeks before that, we had some issues with an episode. So thank you for working with me, Your Majesty. I absolutely enjoy these conversations that we get to have every week. And so don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon, Your Majesty. This is episode 30 of many, many, many more to come. All right? Okay, Your Majesty. I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a magnificent week, Your Highness. And yeah, slay on, Queen. Slay on. All right? Bye.